bit sassy, a little bit crazy, a little bit classy. We got dreams and we got goals. We're just a couple of old sassholes.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
That was funny.
It was fun. It was funny and it was fun, just like our podcast, which this is a Couple of Sassholes podcast. I'm Brooklyn Maple.
And I'm Heather Terry.
And we're just talking about some shit, some crazy stuff, some things that are unfortunate.
You sounded like Leslie Jordan when you said shit.
Oh, that makes
R.I.P.
me happy.
Well, shit. What y'all doing?
Oh, I love all of that. A little nugget of joy. Mm-hmm. So things have happened in the last week. Firstly, we still have a whole episode that's stuck in the ether.
It's in the cloud.
It's in the fucking cloud.
It's in the cloud.
We had a network shatter beneath our feet.
Yeah, the ass definitely fell out on that one.
It sure did.
And it's there, and we think it's pretty good.
No, I'm kidding. It's who knows? Because we never even got to pull it. We never got to pull it and listen to it ourselves.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. How are they going to know? We don't know.
How are they going to know? Nobody knows. We don't really know.
We really don't know.
Nope.
Like it may never bust
it's coming back. It's coming back.
Its little nips out into the cold weather. We don't know. We just don't know. Who knows when it'll drop? Just like
balls.
That I was going to say young testicles.
Oh,
I don't know.
I didn't put an age on them.
I told Heather, I was like, let's just bust that bitch out whenever she comes back from the cloud.
Whenever she gets back, we're going to do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whenever. So let's talk about some things.
Yeah.
First, the submarine.
You guys.
Has been happening. And I am so intrigued. I have poured a big cup of tea and I have scooted up close to the television and I must know more.
Speaking of television, there's a documentary that aired in the UK, I think yesterday.
Already about it? Uh-huh. Did you see the little meme or GIF, whatever the fuck it is, about The Simpsons already calling this? Like that The Simpsons did an episode literally like this where a submarine went down and it went to see the Titanic and then they ran out of oxygen.
Yeah, speaking of that, like if you haven't and you have for some reason don't have social media but follow our podcast, that is what happened.
Yes. So a submarine from Ocean Corp, maybe. I should have like my phone in front of me and talking about it.
No, you're going to Google it right now anyway if you haven't heard about it.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you haven't, then I don't know how that's possible. But yeah, like 6 people, I think, went down to see the Titanic. This was their first voyage. The company just started in the summer of 2023, which is right the fuck now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was their maiden voyage. They all knew the risks that were involved, but it was $250,000 to have that seat, and they were training for it. Like it was something that was a real expedition, if you will.
You did way more research than me about it.
I had to get my googs on last night. I had to know. Mama had to know because it's killing me knowing that wrong turn of phrase.
Oh, yeah.
But just we all knew whenever they disappeared 1 hour and 45 minutes into their expedition, which is not long at all because it was overall the people were going to be gone for 9 days.
9 days?
9 days.
Oh.
But obviously, they were like going to come back up because they only had 96 hours originally of oxygen in the submarine. So
wait,
like they only had 96 hours of oxygen at all in it. And so it was a 9-day expedition at sea where they'd be going back up, doing other things, coming back down.
I was like, that math, what did Mary Catherine say? The math ain't mathin'.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I may not be a math whiz.
But I do know that there's more than 96 hours in 9 days.
It sounded a little short. So thanks for clarifying. Well, that's sad. Yeah. And all the memes, they're kind of being dicks about it. I mean,
are they? I haven't seen any memes besides the Simpson one.
There's kind of mean ones. Like there's one that's going around here in Kentucky, and we live right on the Ohio River, and it has those propane tanks, the big ones that are in your yard. And then it says for $2,500, we'll take you down to see an old Cadillac at the bottom of the Ohio River, and it's got a picture of that on it.
Well, I think
instead, and I'm like, people died though. Like, granted,
people suck.
Yeah,
like at the end of the day, people suck. We also have a podcast where we talk about people dying.
We do,
but I think what it comes down to is like it was a really small space. There weren't chairs. Like if you look it up, it sounds terrible. Now, I did read one of the things where the guy had said, well, they were only supposed to be down for like a few hours, like they weren't living down there.
Yeah.
Like it was just, hey, let's go down here real quick. Look at this. Ooh, wild. Come back up, do other shit. At least that's my understanding. And I've fuck, if you guys really know what's going on, good for you. I'm just...
nobody's here for the facts, sis.
Yeah,
they're just here for fun and entertainment.
Right.
So if they want to know, they can do their own research.
One of the people, I don't know if it was like the driver. I'm sure they have a different name than driver.
Pilot.
The captain. I don't know. They basically said like, if you die in this situation, you'll die. You die before you know it.
I mean, that's good.
Like that you combust or something. Like who knows what happened? Because now that they're talking about there being wreckage, who knows? It could have literally imploded on itself. They said that and people bolt you in, so they get into the submarine and then they are drilled into the submarine.
No,
and that there were apparently 8 screws and they didn't put one in, and they said one of them didn't match. It's like that somebody else had done something similar with the same company, because that's how that works now. And they were like, we thought it was wild, and that they controlled it from like
an Xbox,
like an Xbox remote. Wild to me.
Yeah, well, they
I'm
said
blown away by this.
Even like Elon Musk's company, and that's a guy that puts like the brain chips in and is doing all that research.
Yeah,
so, like even his company uses Logitech remotes and stuff like that. So.
That valid.
And Logitech's stock has dropped and all this stuff. I've only skimmed through like what's on Instagram because it's kind of depressing. But the thing that really everybody was up in an uproar about was the stepson.
Yeah, going to
the billionaire was at Blink-182 and like tweeting about it and
was trying to hit on OnlyFans bitches and stuff.
Yeah,
because not to mention like it was its maiden voyage and it wrecked right next to the Titanic on the Titanic's maiden voyage.
Yeah, and they said that there's like ancestry to the pilots to someone that passed away on the Titanic.
Wild.
Yeah.
I hit my nose again. Gosh, it's like whenever I first got my boobs done, I was bumping those bitches into
You know how to drive them?
Had no idea. I was with my dad at the Frog Follies. Got my boobs done in June that year, and in August we went. And my dad was like, you don't know your spatial awareness, do you, Brooklyn? Like he literally looked at me and he was like, you don't know, because I hit him with my boobs like probably 4 times. And I was like, step farther away. Like you haven't figured it out yet, and I understand that. But I'm letting you know that you don't understand where you're supposed to be standing. It's like, sorry, Dad.
I guess that would be wild.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like all of a sudden
I had like a B cup since I was like 2, so I don't know how
I don't
the
wear baseball caps,
would be.
but I'm pretty sure that I could hit my noggin on some things. I don't know. Let's jump out of the sadness of that. I think what enthralled me and like everyone else in it is just the fact that there was a timeline. Like you knew that they were going to run out of oxygen at 6:00 this morning, and they did. And that's what sucks.
That's so sad.
So sad.
But I wonder how long it's going to take them to make a movie. Something's going to be made out of it.
Absolutely. Once they find out more too.
And they'll add to it.
Or they won't, because if it literally was, they just went down and there was an air pressure issue and it literally combusted. What kind of movie is that?
Oh, they'll church it up though.
That's what I'm saying though. Like then it's not a movie on it.
Yeah.
So anyway. And then what did someone else say? That they killed the other people so that they had more oxygen to last longer? I heard that too. Like somebody at work had mentioned that today. They're like, yeah. And then there's a theory that somebody was killing other people. Obviously, it's all bullshit.
Yeah, I was like, how would they even know? It
doesn't matter. It just means that you're going to die slower. You're dying slower. You have the painful death.
Yeah.
If there was a gun in that submarine and we were like, oh, we're probably going to die, I'd be like, cool, I'm going to eat this real quick.
Oof.
I'd rather do that than slowly suffocate.
Yeah, hopefully they didn't know. Hopefully it just was quick.
Speaking of things I don't want to do you want to talk about poppers?
I don't, but you have it on the list, so let's go.
Let's go. Can you open the door for us to walk in? Because
it's been like, speaking of open the doors, that was a good segue and you don't even know it. So we were talking to a mutual acquaintance of ours, a coworker, if you will, a mutual acquaintance. Okay, well, I didn't want to like throw.
Yeah, I don't want to throw anyone's name out there.
So
we
no
should
names.
have asked next time. I'm gonna be like, do you care if we quote you?
Yeah,
because they didn't know about it. Somebody told them about it.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the intriguing part.
And they were also appalled. So
I wouldn't say appalled. I'm not appalled. I'm not at all appalled. I'm intrigued.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
I'm never gonna yuck a yum or like.
Well, I'm not gonna
bang it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about that. That's to each their own. I just meant my personal reaction to that would be no, thank you. Appreciate the offer. No, thank you.
Well, appalled is like that is the most appalling thing I've ever heard of. Versus I just don't want that in my ass.
Well, now you open the door.
No.
So she said that they were like the smelling salts, kind of, like if a football player gets knocked out and then they hold something on your nose, and then they're like, all of a sudden on the movies and stuff.
There's supposedly things like that you can do like before you work out too, like a smelling salt, and we need to try it.
I don't know.
It'll be fun. Sorry. I barely got my mouth away from the mic.
It was on
Came at me fast.
It was that, yeah. It was
oh my gosh, I feel like I need to wipe this down.
Anyway, so apparently you put that popper, if you will, up to your snoot, and then it's supposed to go to your asshole. So it's supposed to loosen the asshole.
Release the tension of the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I don't know. I think if I was going to do the anals, I want that.
I mean, if that was the street I was going to drive down, I would want a 2-lane road.
Agreed. That was a beautiful way to explain it.
Thanks.
I 100% would like to expand my roadway.
Yeah.
In a very gentle way. So in fact.
So no construction that you don't even need the orange cones. You just.
I think orange cones I think the lube should always be involved.
That's the orange cones.
That, right? Like if you're going to get it in the butt or anything in your butt, lubricant is a requirement because that road doesn't have its own red cones. Orange. Cones.
Why are your cones red?
I don't know because danger.
Oh my God.
I don't know. You know what? Maybe I'll be smelling these poppers. Now I must know more.
Well, go ahead and pop off, girl, because,
I'm not trying to get it in the butt anytime soon.
Anytime soon, she says. TBD.
I mean, I'm engaged.
I'm married and no, I'm good.
If the journey of my life is with Travis and only Travis, we're going to try different roadways. Things are going to happen.
I don't know where to go from here. Godspeed to you and your ass.
Thank you. Travis going to hear this episode and be like, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, it's cool. I am not trying to get anything in my butt, but I want our listeners out there who get things put in their butt to know that other people are
inclusive.
Okay. We are all inclusive to whatever kind of ass play that's out there. That's what I got. That's what I got. I'm all about all inclusivity.
To each their own. Like I said, to each cone their own.
Yes. I like it. Are we ready to hop into our story?
Yeah.
Perfect. I think I'm going to go first. I'm ready for it. Like, I definitely sprayed some crinkle release on this t-shirt of mine and ironed out the kinks, and I am ready for a good story. I'm ready for a good story.
I'm really ready for this one, too.
I forgot.
Lay it on me.
Yeah. Well, this one, I saved it as one crazy bitch. That was it.
It's not about me.
I know that I did not do the best job at work citing because there's a lot in my noggin from previous just information of this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to list off 4, but I feel 100% positive that there's other things that I looked up and whatever. I know once more, the facts is not what people are worried about. So I did People magazine because they were all up in that shit. Hulu, there's multiple documentaries. I don't remember which one I watched because I suck, but there's great ones. Oh my God, they're so good. They're riveting as fuck. Get that seatbelt on, tie in, and just go to town. Grab some wine and let's do this. The other one is All That's Interesting because I love that. And then also ABC
That's
News.
a good one.
Yeah. And then Lifetime did that movie.
Oh yeah. The movie about who?
Oh, right.
The whole time I was looking at you like,
I know, I'm trying to go slow so people don't know who or what it is.
Scoot up, edge of your seat, get ready.
It is, sadly, the murder of Travis Alexander by crazy bitch Jodi Arias.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And they always do such a good job with I don't know, I feel like the way they played this stuff up, you can't make crazy up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. That is.
You just can't make crazy up.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive in.
All right.
Like it's a swimming pool on a hot July day.
Just go.
I can't now. Sorry.
Just the look on your face.
I know.
You were like, I'm going to lean into this and I don't know how you're going to react. And you're like, oh, shit.
Yep. Oh, shit. Okay. Travis Alexander was a California native born in the city of Riverside to Gary David Alexander and Pamela Elizabeth Morgan Alexander. They had a whole bunch of siblings because they were really drug addicts and probably just banged all around town. But the siblings were Gary Alexander, Dennis, who went by Greg, Tanisha Sorensen, because I guess they're all remarried, so got a lot of names here. Mm-hmm. Samantha Alexander, Hillary Wilcox, Stephen Alexander, and Ali Iglesias. Travis was born on July 28th of 1977. 1977. When all of this shit happened, if you can imagine, buckle up. This shit was 15 years ago this year.
Oh.
I had no idea it was 15 years ago.
I feel like it wasn't that long ago, but I also feel like Britney Spears' album that came out, 2 weeks ago, and that was, 26. So that's my time frame is never.
Yours is really fucked up. Yeah. I literally was like, oh my gosh, that means he would have been so much older now. Like, I don't know. I think it's because when everything happened, they were in their 30s and I'm in my 30s now, that I'm like, it just didn't feel like it was that long ago. They were in their early 30s and I was in my 20s. And I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. Wild. He was 31 when he was murdered, and that's just a fun, stupid fact. He definitely looks like he had a great upbringing if you like the look of people that look like they had good parents. So, like, he looked like he had a good upbringing. Mm-hmm. Like, if I was going to judge a book by its cover, I'd be like, Travis's book was banging. But really, his parents fucking sucked.
Really?
They were big ass drug ahead. Like, they were drug addicted. They didn't pay attention to their kids. The mom beat him pretty bad. And they lived in poverty.
I don't think I knew. I don't know much about his story, unfortunately. So I'm glad that you're bringing that to light.
I don't bring almost anything to Jodi's previous life.
Good for you. Fuck her.
But we'll talk. This was definitely in homage to Travis because I was able to get the information. Unlike other ones where you can't. Mm-hmm. At age 11, he moved in with his paternal grandparents. This ended up being the best thing for him. He ended up finding religion and he turned to Mormonism. Now, I also read that his siblings came too, but not until after his father died in a car accident on Travis's 20th birthday.
Oh, bummer.
But in that same article, I caught an error.
You did.
So I didn't quote him in here, and I don't really know.
Yeah.
And the important thing is the story essentially of Travis, and Travis went to his grandparents, and that's whenever he really was like loved and nurtured and cared for in the environment that he needed.
Yeah.
But let's take 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, if we can, and talk about Mormonism just ever so quickly. So Mormons are a religious group that embrace concepts of Christianity as well as revelations made by their founder, Joseph Smith. They primarily belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or LDS, which is headquartered in Salt Lake City, Utah, which we know all about that one because Heather likes to watch Sister Wives.
The whole thing, I was like, I know this.
I know, right? And they have more than 16 million members worldwide.
Oh, my God.
I really don't know anything when it comes to religion, let alone this one. But what I do know is that Travis should not have been having sex.
Yeah, I think he was being a little naughty in the Mormon eyeballs.
Yes, he was struggling heavily with this because he was a highly sexual being. He was super attractive. He was funny. He made good money. And like at the end of the day, getting that pootie tang was super easy. Let's be honest.
Did you just say pootie?
Pootie tang. He was hot and had money. He was funny.
He was good
really
looking.
Good looking. Yeah. Of course, I think they in one of the documentaries he like drove an Audi or a Mercedes. Like he had a really, really nice vehicle, and his house was really nice too.
Yeah.
So obviously that would be I would be sitting on the struggle bus. If there's someone like no sex, I'd be like, I don't know about that.
Like they can't drink or anything though.
Yeah, no.
Some
caffeine.
of them,
well, depending
on the branch, we're not religious gurus. We're just outside. What I've learned from watching Sister Wives is some of them can and some of them can't.
Yeah, or they can't have caffeine even.
What?
Yeah.
What do they do for fun? Anyway, sorry.
I don't know. Make money and I don't know. Weird sex. No, okay. So here's one of the quotes from one of his friends. The dude's last name is McDaniel. I didn't fucking get the first name because I don't care. But here's what he said. The law of chastity basically says your body is a sacred space. Your body was given to you by God. It's not just yours. It's not just your decisions to do with it as you will. God has given this to you and you must respect it. And Latter-day Saints believe that because marriage is so important and so intense and sexuality is so much a part of that you need to preserve those sexual expressions for your spouse. So before you marry and after you marry, you have to keep yourself sexually pure.
I mean, again,
to each their own.
Ratch back around to the pauper discussion to each their own.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As I mentioned, this is a huge reason why the sexually charged situation that is the entire story, essentially, of Jodi and Travis is so explicit and taboo. That's why it was so salacious.
Yeah, it was definitely like,
Oh, my God. The trial of the century. Mm-hmm. But let's put all that over to the side, and basically we're getting back to Travis's life. Okay. So college wasn't for him. He really wanted to be a motivational speaker, and he had various jobs early in his career, like telemarketing and retail sales. Mm-hmm. He landed at Prepaid Legal Services as a motivational speaker and a salesman. He had a nice car, a great home. He really had his shit together, and he ultimately settled in Mesa, Arizona. So in his early 30s, he's attractive, he's focused on his religion, his career, and he's really becoming the best version of himself and also working to support other people to achieve those same goals.
Oh, good.
I know. Great guy.
And he, could have went either way on the path that...
Yeah.
Based on his upbringing.
Yes. Now... all of that is the case until he meets Jodi Arias. So Jodi Arias is born on July 9th of 1980, and she lived in Palm Desert, California. She was an aspiring photographer who met Alexander at a company convention in Las Vegas in September of 2006. So she was also looking for opportunities at the same company that Travis was working with or working at. Mm-hmm. And apparently 2 of his friends knew that Jodi was going to be there, and they I'm basically going to say it was like a blind date. They were both at the same event at the same convention, and they were like, this girl's hot, meet her and have dinner with her before you go and do everything else. Mm-hmm. I also read that it was I heard in the documentary that this was like a great job for Mormons because they had to do all of that, ride a year with their bicycles and ask people if they found Jesus.
Oh,
yeah. And so because of those like missionary concepts, like for whatever reason, this job was really good for them. And I'm going to guess it's because that's a really uncomfortable, like sales is hard and it's uncomfortable. And I have a feeling, I don't know what they had to do here because I Googled prepaid legal services and I can't find them anywhere. So I think they were bought out and changed their name. And I almost think, I don't know, I did not dive further. I almost think they're LegalZoom now.
I was going to say that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
But so they probably went and did their mission and tried to convert people and tell them about the gospel like while they were working. So it's like 2 birds, 1 stone, maybe. I don't know.
I know. I think it's the skill sets that they learn in their mission trips that then made a particular job like this so appealing to them. Yeah. And so a lot of Mormons happen to have worked there. I don't want to say a lot, but like one of his close confidants worked there and was a close friend of his, and they were all part of the Mormon church together. So I don't know.
Who knows?
But what they say is that as soon as they met, they connected instantly. Like she was beautiful, she's friendly, she had all like long blonde hair, cute figure, she was super sweet. And that's like the feedback from one of his close girlfriends, like one of Travis's girlfriends. And she seemed to like him as much as he liked her. According to a friend, he had wanted to marry her. Like he tells that, quote, he tells me that he's found his wife and this is a girl that he wants to marry whenever they meet.
Whoa.
They stay up talking until 4 a.m. that night. So it's like explosive.
Yeah.
Bombshell.
What?
Homegirl had a boyfriend back home.
She did not.
She did. That she'd been living with for years. Like
so
a
why did
committed relationship. I think because she probably didn't think anything of it and was just like, oh, whatever, I'm just at a and she went and had dinner with somebody. Wow. I don't know that in particular she was like, I'm cheating on my boyfriend here versus just sit with one of the motivational speakers at this convention. Yeah. Who knows what it really was? And then they hit it off. So she ends up going home. She dumps him to be with Travis. And though they had a super intense like attraction and vibe with each other, Jodi was like legit super fucking jealous and sort of crazy. No. And it shows quickly.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. And she also ends up converting to Mormonism soon after they start dating. It's a smart move, but also a weird one.
That's pretty quick. So
they fall for each other quick. You've seen everyone do this. Mm-hmm. Like they fall really quick. They're hot and heavy. Fucking A. Travis's friends like openly talk about I'm going to say weird situations that they're kind of put in as Jodi is dating Travis. So it's obvious that she's possessive. One of the friends is like, she just had to sit right by him. Like she had to be sitting directly by him in any situation where there were other people.
Wow.
That's the tiny stuff. She didn't like it when he would talk about other girls. And that could be a friend.
Like a coworker or something.
Yeah, anything.
Wow.
Look at this shit. So the girl's name is Lovinger Hughes. Weirdest fucking name ever. But anyway, she talks about like these moments. And she was like, I got this really cold feeling that Arias would like that Jodi was outside of this closed door one time whenever they were talking. And when Travis opened the door to check, he found Jodi standing on the other side giving a fucking evil ass look. And she's like, there was literally rage in her eyes. Because she was terrifying. In a room talking to him. So he's privately in a room with a female and she is just standing out there whenever they open the door. Fucking crazy. Whoa. She's like, I started seeing that and I felt like it was disturbing. And she said that she literally said to Travis, I'm afraid we're going to find you chopped up in her freezer. From very early on, she was completely obsessed with him, and they knew it. Now, listen to this crazy ass story. Okay. So she's talking about this one time when they're all in the hot tub, and it's 4 of them.
Okay.
And she's like, we're just hanging out, chatting, nothing crazy. Well, Jodi, and I'm quoting her right now. Well, Jodi is like climbing on Travis while we're trying to have this conversation. She's all over him. I mean, like 8th graders whose parents are out of town, like straddling his lap and sucking his neck. And Travis just kept pushing her off. And he's like, Jodi, get off me. Like, what are you doing? And I look at Chris, which is her husband, and she's like, does she not realize we're sitting here?
That's so uncomfortable.
Oh my.
No.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Ew.
Well, 5 months into them dating, Arias and Alexander's relationship appears to end. However, she moved. So it was a long distance relationship. Mm-hmm. She moves from Palm Desert to Mesa, which is obviously where Travis lives, after they break up.
That's what I was going to say. I thought that, like...
They break up and she moves to his town.
Well, it sounded like a very healthy relationship, so I don't understand.
Right.
That's the weird... Okay, keep going. She's so fucking crazy.
I will.
All right.
Travis had apparently told his friends that he was not super enthusiastic about her moving there. But after living in Mesa for approximately 8 months, she ends up moving back to California in April of 2008. In May, text messages reveal that the two have gotten into a big fight, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Now, his joy at meeting Jodi is like tempered by guilt as well. And so they're obviously having premarital sex, which in the Mormon church, as we talked about, is forbidden. Mm-hmm. And the guilt is so bad. He talks to his friends about it, and he takes it out on Jodi. And that's what sucks, because that's where he calls her a slut, and they have all these like fights in their arguments, and there's proof of this, which doesn't like put him in the best light later on. Yeah. But it's obviously his consciousness, like just any religious person who believes in the law of chastity, who is breaking it and knows they can't take it back. It has to be like ripping at your interior compass. You know? And so he's mad, and he's basically angry at this vixen for taking that from him too, in a sense. It's such a struggle, like, to understand, like, him kind of fighting with that. Not to mention, the more that Jodi throws herself at him, the less he will appreciate her as a Mormon and believe that she is then likely to be someone that he would marry. Yeah. So she throws herself at him sexually, knowing that he's not going to have sex with anybody else because of his religion, and another Mormon girl will not have sex with him. So she thinks she's satisfying this urge and this need that will then make him love her more. But at the end of the day, it's making him, resent her and despise the situation. His friend had said, like, I want to be a good Mormon, but she'll just show up at my house and get in my bed naked. And it's like, he's a sexual being, and this hot girl is just getting in his bed. And she looks like Good Time Sally right now anyway. Like, she's just like, and I'm still grossed out about the hot tub thing you said, because I'm like, that's so uncomfortable for the other people. Like, 100%. But like, she doesn't sound like wife material if she's trying to make him love him more. She's actually, like you said. When you're tearing into I can't tell you how many times I thought, if I would give myself to a man, then that man would love me because I have my own psychological interior issues. You know what I mean? Like, that's almost an innate thing that happens to young women. It's definitely not uncommon. Yeah. And I can see that. But whenever you're literally peeling him away from his religious beliefs, it's a whole different thing. Yeah. But all of this makes like her obsession with him even worse. And as he started seeing other women, Alexander told friends that Arias had slashed his tires, hacked into his Facebook, and harassed the women that he went out with. And sometimes she would even sneak into the house. When you watch the Lifetime movie, there's like a point where she sneaks in and takes photos of him like sleeping on the couch with another woman, and then like the photos are in his room or some crazy shit. What? No one knows if that's like, there's no true confirmation. But it is true that she used to show up, right? Yeah. And she knew the code to the garage. And did he have roommates? Am I jumping ahead? He had roommates, yeah. Okay, and sorry. We can talk about that too. Yeah. But anyway, their obviously relationship has become super toxic. Text messages and emails between the two from May 2008 suggest that Alexander and Arias had that huge fight, and that Alexander was calling Arias a sociopath. He even told his friends, "Don't be surprised if you find me dead one day." That's so sad. Yeah, it is. And soon that's exactly what Travis's friends find. On June 9th, 2008, Travis Alexander's friends had started getting worried. They hadn't heard from him in 5 days. He had invited a girl that he was hoping, he had a crush on this good Mormon girl, and he wanted it to be something more serious. She had said we should just be friends, and I'm sure that's her. Who knows? But they were going to go on this trip with other friends to Cancun. Yeah. So they're planning this trip, and they don't hear anything from him for 5 days. So his friends get worried. A small group of them go to his house. His roommates are there, and somehow, like, the friends that come in smell something.
Yeah.
And the roommates are like, whenever everything comes down to it, because I just have to fucking say this down. They're like, we're just guys. Like, we're two guys. And sometimes it can smell kind of weird in here.
Think about any, like, guy's dorm or, like, frat house or anything like that I went to. I literally, like, when you said that and I read that before, I smelled that in my nose.
I know what smell. And to me, it's like it's the container of, like, chicken, the, like, little plastic part of chicken that you throw in your trash and leave in there. No, like, that's like rancid. That's that nasty smell that whenever you come in the house after a long weekend away and you forgot to take the trash out, it's the bottom part, the styrofoam part of the chicken breast that you cooked, or the container of like beef. I don't know.
Sweaty socks and stale beer. Like that.
I don't know. They said they didn't think anything of it, but I think that's fucking anyway. Anyway, they go to his room and they find that Travis is deceased in the shower with blood everywhere. The 30-year-old, and I read 30 or 31-year-old, so he was probably 30.75 in his age, had been shot in the head. He was stabbed 27 times and had his throat cut. Investigators also found long brown hairs, a digital camera in the washing machine that was obviously attempted to be destroyed, and a bloody handprint on the wall. As the police start to investigate the murder, Travis's friends are literally like, look at Jodi Arias. Look at Jodi Arias.
I fucking bet they were.
Her name is brought up the second that they realize what happened.
Oh, my God.
And their friends are like, she was a stalker.
Yeah.
She was an ex-girlfriend that would not leave him alone.
Yeah.
Within hours of his body being found, Jodi called the police to ask about the case. And you can hear all of these stuff.
She called them?
Yeah, she called them. She called and left voicemails on Travis's phone.
I am so glad that you're doing this because I forgot everything.
I forgot so much too.
Okay.
Yeah. So Flores, which is one of the investigators, he told Arias that he said that Arias told him that she'd spoken briefly to Travis the day he was killed and that she was driving to Utah to see a new guy that she was dating. During their conversations, Flores had told Arias that her name had come up repeatedly during the investigation. She denies being in Arizona at the time of Travis's death. And when she went to Arizona for the memorial service, she agreed to be fingerprinted by the police. So she was there at his memorial service.
Oh, God.
That she had murdered.
Did everyone stare at her? Like, you would think that, like, if I thought I knew who killed you and they showed up at your thing, like, you would have to peel me off. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
So I just can't imagine his friends seeing her bitch ass.
I guess, too, she's a slight woman, and it's like, I think a lot of this, there's a chance that they probably didn't think, they weren't 100% sure that she did because she was small and he was a grown-ass man.
Even if this bitch kept showing up at your house and, like, you had an ex, so you're like, he keeps showing up, and then nope. At
the end of this, like, I'm just going to put a pin in that. But anyway, so for her part, she initially denies being at Travis's house. She denies ever driving there. Keep in mind, though, and this wasn't mentioned in anything that I read, but I remember this part, is that she had put gas in, like, gas containers, I believe. I want everyone to know I'm saying I believe. I believe that she had put gas in gas containers so that she didn't stop and use her credit card in certain locations. She also was blonde and dyed her hair brown.
That's right.
Yes. During all of this. And then specifically showed up at another guy's house. And when she showed up at that other guy's house, she had cuts all over her fingers.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, she was completely fine. Normal as all get out.
Oh, that's
gross. Crazy.
Yeah.
Ugh. Crazy and gross and horrible. It's unbelievable. She had told the cops that she hadn't seen him for 2 months. But of course they were able to find that camera. The level of evidence here is unfucking believable. Yeah. There's time-stamped photos, which is even more eerie and terrible and sad and horrible. Yeah. Because they were all sexy naked photos.
Yeah.
They were sexy naked photos everywhere. And so it's like they did this fucking photo shoot in the shower. And she's like, I didn't kill him. And I'm like, you motherfucker. And there's literally a photo that was taken. That's the crazy part. So there's all these photos time-stamped, him naked in the shower, them in compromising positions. Then there's a photo of her foot in her pants and Travis's body bleeding.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And then on top of that, not only did she take his life too, and then she like smudged it because they're going to rip it apart in court and show all these photos. And he's supposed to be this Mormon that was already struggling with his religion. And now they're going to be like Exhibit A and it's him naked.
Yeah. And a sexy pose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. Not to mention when she's looking at all of this and you can see the investigation because it's obviously all recorded. But when you watch her, they literally like, is this not you? And he's like, I'm going to cover you up. So to be modest here, but is that not you? And she goes, that looks like me. And he goes, so I have proof that you're there. And she's like, well, I'm pretty sure you could fake those photos by the timestamps. Fucking psycho bitch. Anyway, So I'm going to keep jumping into that. But she admitted to the police once they were confronted with the photos. She ends up offering an explanation to everything. She admits to the police that she had driven to his house on June 4th. She claimed that they had sex and that she started taking photos of him in the shower. But then she said 2 masked intruders had come in and murdered him. One was a female and one was a male. And the reason they didn't kill her was because they weren't here for that. That's what she said.
Yeah, I remember that.
We're not here to do that.
Didn't she like say their race too? Like she tried
I don't know. I think they were all white. They were white people is what I believe.
Oh my God.
And of course they didn't fucking buy it. But then she was like, why didn't you tell him or you didn't? So you left the house after you knew that he was attacked and never called the cops. So they were going to kill my family. They had my driver's license.
Oh, they did, huh? And then she drove to this other dude's house.
Mm-hmm.
And
just acted like everything was fine.
Looked like she just competed on Chopped, making onions with her fucking cut up hands.
Yeah.
She's so fucking stupid.
Yeah. And of course they're like, no, you're going to be arrested for 1st degree murder. Then in that room, right, she does a headstand. She sings like Silent
Oh my God,
Night.
I remember this.
Yeah. And then before she gets booked, she's like, this will just show how vain of a person I am. But can I put my face on before you book me?
Oh yeah, she wanted to shoot that fucking interrogation video. She literally starts singing. I remember, I can picture it in my freaking head.
Yeah,
where she does handstands and stuff, and I think that's probably her like trying to do a like
insanity plea.
Why could I not think of that word?
I don't know.
That
I don't
word.
know. I just think she didn't fucking care. She wasn't worried at all. Well, if I had done that, and the cops now were asking, I'd be shaking. I'd be terrified. I'd be in the corner crying. I'd be so torn up.
She didn't even act torn up when she went to the other guy. I don't know.
She didn't cry at all.
Yeah.
She wasn't upset because she'd gone there with 100% intent to kill him. And just wanted to fuck him before. Her parents were also brought in. I don't know if you remember that one, but her parents were brought in and both of them paint a picture. So the dad is like, I just can't believe this. The mom is crying and the mom's like, I'm like, to me, she comes off like I'm not that shocked because her daughter had issues understanding what reality was. And so apparently whenever she was younger, like in high school or something, I will say her parents went over the deep end, but back then I have to remember that they're 15 years our senior. So the world is different with weed. Like pot back then was fucking the gateway drug. And if you smoked weed, you were going to be shooting up heroin in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But they'd found weed in her room and they called the cops. So I think that was very extreme. I think they were probably trying to figure out who gave her the drug. Like basically acting like it was fucking heroin.
Not
and
our
she
baby
was like,
angel.
fuck you guys.
Oh.
And she moved in with her grandparents. So she moved out young and then was boy crazy ever since. Like she was always hopping from one dick to the next and was like madly in love. And
oh no.
Yeah, she definitely didn't find the important stepping stones in life at a time when she needed it.
Sounds
and like her
it.
mom had said, you acted like we raised you in a hellhole because of that one instance.
Wow.
She basically hated them and acted like they treated her like shit and she was mistreated and all this shit. Yeah.
So she started playing the victim right off the jump too.
Super hard.
Wow.
Super hard. At the trial, the prosecution offered even more proof that she had killed Travis. They explained that obviously her DNA was there, but that it was the fucking bloody handprint on his wall and that he had been killed hopefully he was already dead before the gunshot wound to his head, but that the gun matched the gun that her grandparents had.
Oh.
So she drove there with that gun. They built a case basically based on jealousy that Travis had said that he invited, he had let her know that he invited somebody else and was trying to have a serious relationship with her and didn't want anything, to do with Jodi anymore. And she lost her fucking shit.
It was definitely like if I can't have you, nobody's going to.
Yeah, apparently he had said, like, I read too that she was invited to Cancun first and then he was like, no, crazy, and then invited the other girl and it was something like that, which that could be hurtful. But
they broke up. Shit happens.
Yeah, and that she just rode into or flown into a jealous rage and went and planned to kill him.
Yeah.
Which, sure, maybe. Here's my thought on like how it happened, because I remember I was so into this trial. I remember all the facets to it. And it's unbelievable how she tried to imply that these other people were a part of it when they weren't. And then her story changes to self-defense. And that is even more of the bullshit levels to it.
Yeah.
So then the defense says that Jodi's life was in danger, that he knocked her to the ground in the bathroom where there was a struggle. And if she didn't defend herself, she wouldn't be here today.
Okay.
Let's note those injuries, though.
I was getting ready to ask you what injuries she had, quote unquote. If he knocked her down, you're going to have at least one, but that's still.
So she tried to say that in multiple cases he would abuse her and that he beat her. And she definitely just tries to shatter his reputation. She says at one time she walks in and he's masturbating to child pornography. What? Which the family is sitting in there. All of his siblings, they're like, no. And I was watching it. No one believed that.
No
one believed that. The lawyer would ask questions. She should have never been on the trial. And she was on the fucking stand for days. And he would ask her questions and she would just fucking be a smart ass back to him and not really answer the questions.
Oh, God.
And it was just unbelievable how combative she was.
Yeah.
And how just utterly insane she was. But what ended up happening is those stab wounds were on his back. He had defensive wounds to his hands, and then his throat was cut. I remember one of her explanations was that he was beating her and attacking her, and so she ran into the closet and grabbed the gun that was his gun, but he didn't own a gun. What? And that it was in a shoebox way up top when there was no shoebox touch. Like she was saying that she went and like feverishly ran through the closet and was trying to grasp at anything and try to save herself from him, and yet she's in the bathroom with a knife.
Yeah, why is the knife in there for one?
Right.
Two, like if you're in quote unquote self-defense, you're not going to sprint through the fucking house when she's this little girl and look for a gun
on the top shelf of a closet in a shoebox.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, no one's putting a gun in that location if something happens. You can't get to it. Like that's what I'm saying.
No, I know, but
you're not going to get to it.
But like he's going to catch up with you.
Right.
He was in good shape too.
Right.
Like
so the layout too of like how I really believe it happened is that he was in the shower and she was taking these photos. And that's whenever she grabs that knife and she stabs him. She stabs him in the back multiple times, thinking that those stab wounds is what was going to kill him, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So he turns around and he comes after her, trying to get her to stop. That's where the stab wounds happen in his hand. Now he's losing a lot of blood and he falls to the ground and he can no longer actually defend himself here as he's trying to push her off because the stab wounds in the back weren't deep enough. And I don't think she realized that. I think she thought she'd be able to stab him multiple times and kill him that way.
Yeah.
And she just underestimated his abilities and how deep the knife really was going to penetrate.
Yeah.
When he turns around and he does eventually fall to the ground, she cuts his throat. Ugh. And that's whenever she goes into her bag and she takes that gun and she shoots him in the head.
Oh, my God. That's so terrible. It's so sad.
It is so sad. I've done so much of the story out of my notes that I'm like, I don't even know.
I know you have made
where I was.
Just so you guys know, she's literally had her arms crossed, making eye contact with me like we are just having afternoon tea, and she's telling me this because she literally knows this
story. It's just it's unbelievable. At the trial that obviously like blew everyone away. It's a mix of sex, betrayal, murder. It lasted for 4 months, which really wasn't all that long. But in it, as I mentioned, with her skank ass attitude, she fucking tosses back with so much attitude to the attorney. It makes me fucking hate her so much. Do you remember the trial? Did you watch it?
I watched some of it, not like every day, but I
think I watched every.
I know you did.
Day.
You told me that. I did not watch every day. I remember seeing her a little bit on there. She tries. Witnesses are supposed to at least a little bit play a part, quote unquote. She does not make an effort. You can tell she thinks she's going to get away with it. In her delusional head, she thinks she's going to get away with it. She literally sits up there and just is cocky as fuck.
Cocky as fuck.
Yeah.
Yes. I literally was like, this motherfucker thinks the whole time she's going to get off. Mm-hmm. And so she had recorded one of their conversations too. And everyone's like, why the fuck did she? Unfortunately, it was a conversation that was really derogatory and kind of a wild little kink.
Yeah.
Where Travis is talking real dirty, skanky slut kind of way, but she's like, ooh, I like it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's phone sex that she had obviously recorded.
So she probably let him in there, and then
I don't know. I don't know how old that is or when that was in it, but she's also crazy. So it doesn't shock me either. The fact that she had it recorded though is so bizarre to me.
That's very suspect. Like she got him to do it and then backed out. You're like, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
At the end of it, though, obviously they were in favor of Travis, and they found her guilty on first-degree murder. She ended up being sentenced to life in prison. There were 2 mistrials in here, and all of it was based on the fact that they couldn't agree to give her the death penalty. Travis's family wanted the death penalty, and to them, that would have been victory. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, they got victory in the sense that she went to jail for the rest of her life, but they wanted her to die. And they couldn't get her to die because at the very next mistrial, they already know that guilt is there. The guilt is there. So now you're just fighting for her to die because of it. And unfortunately, to me, prison forever is better.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And everybody knows who she is. So she probably got her ass beat a lot.
And not to mention that, she was doing all those
the
news interviews, those interviews
yes.
before saying that they were she was basically saying they were friends with benefits, and it wasn't really what it was. Fucking psycho bitch.
Yeah.
But then she is in any of these documentaries, she doesn't get on camera anymore because she is a fucking crazy person. A fucking crazy person.
Yeah. How is she today? I haven't Googled her in a while.
I'll tell you.
Thank you. Good job. You're doing great, by the way. Let's all take a minute to say that you're doing great.
Thank you.
You're crushing it.
I appreciate it. So Steven, which is one of his brothers, one of the things that he said is he's kind of let that part go because he couldn't stop the thinking about Jodi all the time was fucking killing them, as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
He goes, I've kind of let that part go. Travis should have a couple of kids. He should have a beautiful wife. He should have a beautiful home. He should have absolute happiness. And he should have that beautiful smile that was on his face all the time. Just the sadness of that.
Yeah.
Jodi is serving a life sentence in the Perryville State Women's Prison in Goodyear, Arizona. She's not eligible for release, thank fucking goodness.
Good.
Based on public records, she is held in a medium to low custody class security wing of the prison. Currently, she's assigned to work as an aide in the library, a duty that she has appeared to have held since July of 2018. Previously, she was in the store warehouse between 2017 and 2018 and worked as a porter, which I don't know what the fuck that is, in 2016. In addition to her sentence, an Arizona judge ordered her to pay $32,000 to the family of her victim. And I was about to say, I don't understand the amount, but sorry, the money was actually there to help the family offset the trial travel expenses and the airfare and lodging for the siblings to come and support during it.
Yeah.
While behind bars, she has been involved in one disciplinary action in February of 2016, and it was classified as disrespect to staff, according to public records. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. But that is the sad story of Travis Alexander and the lies and the craziness of Jodi. But this was one of those things that I just really want to say, if you're in a relationship and everyone is warning you that this person is likely going to hurt you, and if you have a joke that you're consistently saying that you're worried that this person is going to hurt you, for the love of God, please get out of that relationship for the sake of you and your family, because it's apparent that there's a reason for this. God forbid you're going to be another topic on one of the 17,000 different podcasts out there because you didn't walk away because you didn't think it would happen to you.
Wow, I have chills. That was very well said because it's true. It's very true.
You were with me when I was dating somebody that we both thought would fucking kill me because they had an explosive behavior.
Yeah.
And it took 11 days before I completely exhausted myself out of that experience, blocked the person, and never ever will speak or think of them again.
I haven't thought about it.
Days. But that was
I'm glad you got out.
Right. Because it was one of those whoa, red flags really fucking quick. We should probably get out of this because I don't want to get murdered.
I look like a motherfucking carnival up in there with all them red flags. You think that it was a used car lot and they were trying to get rid of the last Jeeps.
That's what I'm saying, guys.
Yeah.
Just please, if you feel that way and you think that might be the case, there are reasons that you feel that way. Your gut is telling you something. Your gut is telling you something. Your vibrations are telling you something. The universe is telling you something. Everyone is telling you something. Listen to it.
Exactly.
Just listen to it.
That was very good.
That's what I got.
And there's resources.
Yes.
You can everywhere.
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 Good job, Becky.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
That was very good.
That was a wild one.
That was...
It's so different in cases where you got to witness it firsthand. Like, I was paying attention to this whenever it happened. Whenever we start doing Aaron Hernandez and O.J. Simpson and all of those, like, there's so many other bigger cases that are on the docket for us that we're going to be able to speak to because we actually remember them.
O.J. Simpson, I used to stay inside for recess and watch the...
Same.
See, we would have been best friends so much longer than 4 years ago. We also probably want to survive college. But anyway.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I just went on a whim because we had no direction. You had a heavy hitter. And I was like, I need to just get a little bitty taste of Muck Duck Murder in here. So I just picked a little short one. I was listening to My Favorite Murder while I was cleaning the house. And I was like, I forgot about that story. I like that story. And I don't, fingers crossed, think that you and I listened to this one together.
Okay.
But if not, either way, because it's a good one. So my sources are Wikipedia. And then there's an episode of Morning Cup of Murder podcast, which is like this quick little taste.
Ooh, I like that.
I know, yeah.
Put that on my Spotify right now.
I know.
Morning Cup of Murder.
After you guys subscribe to us and rate us 5 stars, then you can go listen to hers. And where I originally heard it, like I said, was Karen tell it and during a live show on My Favorite Murder. So I Googled 30-minute murders.
Oh, it was a live show? I definitely wouldn't have watched it. You and I have done like one live show before.
Perfect. And let me preface this because there's so much conflicting information on this. There's a ton. So one says one thing, one says the other. I'm going to go with my gut and stick with Karen Kilgariff because she's like the murder queen from My Favorite Murder. And that's what I did. So, okay.
So while you were reading, you were like, I'm going to lean to the truth that she speaks.
I typed it all out, looked at all the notes, but I kind of leaned on. I was like, well, Karen said this. So like I said, don't fact check us. You're just here for entertainment. So
yeah, this
guy is pretty messed up, but they all are. So I guess here we go. June 16th. Why? We both did June ones. June 16th, 1969, Boston, Massachusetts. The cops get this call telling them where to find a dead body around 1:30 a.m. The caller said, and I cannot do a Boston accent. I know you always joke.
I wish you could.
You always say I can do accents. I can't do this one. You try it. I can't do it.
Let me have the paper.
You gonna try to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
There.
Go. I don't know that I can. I'm like, my dear, at the corner of what?
No, I love it.
Is that New York or is that Boston?
Boston.
My dear, at the corner of Washington and Neyland Streets in a construction site, there'll be a man in the water dead.
That just brought me so much
that made me sweat for some reason.
Oh, man. You are a treat. Anyway, that's what the caller said. No, back down because it's sad time. Then the caller, after this, he identified himself as the Giggler and then laughed like a crazy person and hung up on the switchboard operator. Ooh. So, like, this one stands out to me, though, because, fun fact, in preschool, they called me the Giggle Box in preschool because I still, to this day, laugh at everything.
You do?
And I always have. They literally used to call me that.
You've always done that.
Yeah, always. Yeah. I've always laughed at everything.
In the beginning of our relationship, Heather was like, why do you not? I'm like, I just don't laugh as much as you. I don't know what to say. Now, if I would have known you were the queen of giggles.
I was the Giggle Box.
Yeah.
So, Fun fact. But anyway, so this guy, like, he identified himself as the Giggler and laughed. So he named himself.
Right.
Like, what? How is that terrifying?
We've said that all the time,
but
right? We've never said that.
No, but normally the news names them.
Right, but it's like the wet bandits on Home Alone. Like, what it comes down to is whether or not you get a good name or a shitty name.
That's very true. But he picked the Giggler.
I know.
That's so... I can't get over it. Like, how do guys even giggle, though? Like,
I don't know. I have a lot of questions on
like,
that.
how do you even do
like,
that?
I don't know. I'd rather be called the hyena or something.
Yeah, make up something scary, like the Falcon. Like, what do you...
No, like the hyena laughs.
Oh, yeah, yours makes way more sense.
The Falcon. Because falcons are known for being giggly little birds.
I don't know. Why is he giggling anyway? Anyway, okay, back in.
Focus.
I know this one's going to be Derail City. So, okay. So the cops go and they check it out. And apparently it's in a place called the combat zone, which I don't know what that means. But anyone from Boston already turned it off because of that accent that he tried to do. Anyway.
They're like, fuck you. They disrespected me.
Yeah, well, they can try to do our accent and send us a voice note and we'll call it.
We'll just call Brad and be like,
call
Brad.
it even. Yeah, we'll call it even. they found a man who was in fact in the water in a ditch with his skull shattered. And the man was named Joe Breen, and he was last seen at a bar called The Novelty, drinking beer and playing shuffleboard. So just living his best life with his friends. He met a chubby stranger with dark hair at the bar. His friends were like, hey, we're going to go across the street to this bar. And he's like, oh, no, I'm all right. I'll stay here with chubby dark hair. And when they came back, they were both gone. And one of Joe's friends happened to be a police officer for the Boston PD. So when they found his body, his friend was like, fuck this. He went to this is so sad. He went to the Novelty every single night for like a month looking for that guy. And he said he never saw him again. But he was trying to find him.
Yeah.
Then on December 26, 6 months later, a missing persons report is filed for 9-year-old Kenneth Martin.
No.
On January 6, 1970, an anonymous caller who turned out to be the dorky Giggler again comes in saying that Kenneth can be found in a tunnel below South Station. He didn't name himself this time because he probably felt dumb and it was already too late because they literally called him that like at the cops or at the police station. But he did that creepy giggle thing and hung up the phone.
Oh my God, how eerie.
Yeah.
Is this a movie?
No, I don't think so. It should be.
I want to Google because I would like to watch it.
It should be. I'm about to ask you to Google anyway. So
yeah, I can't Google until I don't want to get any. I don't know this, so I don't want any spoilers.
Okay, yeah. After 2 days of searching, the police found Kenneth's lifeless body in a canvas bag. He had been strangled with twine, and it was still around his neck. Little Kenneth, apparently worked at South Station Bowling Alley. Like, this must have been pre-child labor because he, again, was 9. But he would reset up the pins at the end because they didn't have an automated machine, so that was his job. And the good part about him working there, though, was everybody knew him, and they kind of looked out for him because he was just so little. And the last person that they had seen him with was a 31-year-old man named Kenneth Harrison, who was an unemployed cook. Real quick, though, yeah, that's what I said.
Why are Kenneth like Kenneth Purnell? Why is Kenneth a bad name?
I don't know.
It's a bad name, son.
Okay, so real quick background on him, because I couldn't find much, and who cares? He's a fucking asshole. But he was born in Boston, September of 1938. He had one sibling, and after finishing 8th grade, he became a, quote, unemployed cook, which, like I said, how does that even happen? Like, how are you an unemployed cook? You, like, make a burger, and then you're like, oh, I don't have a job, so that's what I do. Like,
his last job was at Hardee's.
Who knows? People knew him because he would crash in unoccupied offices and rooms at the South Station. So a lot of transients, he was known for that kind of area. So when they saw the 31-year-old hanging out with a 9-year-old and then they left together, they'd called the cops, obviously.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. They were like, what is happening?
Gosh,
and then they were like, no, that's bad.
I hate that they even let him leave.
Yeah. When they went to find older Kenneth the next day, he'd hopped a train to Rhode Island. So they hunt him down and then they bring him in for questioning. So they started to talk.
Sorry, they hunted down a 31-year-old transient,
like unemployed cook that he had, like he had frequented.
Just like blown away in the 70s.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just making sure I'm like following.
No,
along.
you're good. And like I said, I'm leaning on a lot of different things. So
totally understand. I was just making sure I was painting the right fucking picture.
He lingered around South Station a lot, so like he had hopped a train back so like people had seen him around there and stuff. So they start to talk to Kenneth, and he said he was hanging out in one of the offices, blackout drunk, and he just suddenly got the urge to kill. So he just starts spewing his guts. He said he happened to see the little sweet baby angel, Kenneth, 9-year-old Kenneth, and he claimed he doesn't remember anything after that, but he woke up next to the boy's dead body down the tunnel. He said that's when he called it in because he felt really bad.
And he laughed at the end of it?
And then
someone give me a table. I'm about to fucking flip it.
There she goes, flipping tables. But I would help her flip it. And then he left scared after he called. Then before they could even formally charge him for saying all that, he was like, well, as long as I'm here, I might as well tell you about a few more. So, yeah. Okay. Get ready. Kenneth apparently for a short stint was a cab driver in 1968, and he came across 6-year-old Lucy Palmerin. She was walking to the store to get candy. He pulls over, being all friendly, and asks her, like, hey, do you want to ride? They go around the neighborhood for a little bit, and he takes her in the cab to a bridge at Fort Point Channel. He's like, hey, get on my shoulders. It'll be fun, because that's fucking gross. He said all of a sudden, instead of that, he was struck with the urge to kill.
What is this struck with an urge to kill? He sounds like a fucking ding-a-ling.
I know. So instead of lifting her up to get on his shoulders, he picks her up, and then he throws her off the bridge.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. So he
literally was like, let's play horsey or whatever, and then threw her over. Yeah.
How high up was this thing? Oh my God. Was it onto, hold on. Was it onto concrete or was it onto water? Or do we
Fort Point Channel Bridge, if you want to look it up. But if you want, it's...
Say it one more time.
Fort Point Channel, and I'm assuming the Boston area. Okay, so I'm pretty sure there was water underneath it. From what I read, I didn't put all the details because they were talking about when they found her and all that stuff. So I didn't put that in because it's already sad enough. Her body was found 5 weeks later, and since there weren't any witnesses and she was alone, it was just ruled an accident. They thought she was playing and got hurt. Then on November 26th,
it was water.
Then on November 26, 1968, I hate this. I know, but 75-year-old Clover Parker, which that's such a cute name. Clover was walking across the same bridge and she came across the giggling Kenneth. And she was having trouble walking with her cane because it was November in Boston, so it was a little icy. So he was like, oh, let me help you. And then he got his urge. He hit her in the face a few times and then he threw her over the bridge. Both of these were in broad daylight, by the way. Broad daylight.
That is so insane.
I know.
What a bizarre way to become a serial killer, just like tossing people off bridges.
Yeah. And then Clover's death was ruled accidental as well because they thought the facial bruising from him hitting her was post-mortem.
I'm wondering if that's but I'm like, my biggest thing right now is like, was death immediate or did they drown?
I don't know.
Those are my questions.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope it was
being thrown into frigid water in November in Boston,
and being 75 that has to walk with a cane. You know what I mean? Anyway, this is and then fucking 6 years old. He's awful. Mm-hmm. And then 7 months later, after Clover, was when he had met Joe Breen at the Novelty. He told police about Joe after that, and he said he got that stupid fucking urge again, and he beat him to death with a rock.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. And then he's like, hey, do you guys remember back on January 28th, 1966? And they're like, what? And he said, like, when that huge fire broke out in a well-known transient hotel called the Paramount Hotel. Guess who said it?
Oh, my God.
11 people died in the fire and 50 people were injured. The fire department had just assumed it was a gas leak, but old Giggler explained that he wanted to watch the building burn. So he started it.
So how did they not see any accelerators? What, it was in the 60s?
Yep. Fuck. I mean, and I don't want to make assumptions, but it possibly could be, not saying that's what I think it is, just possibly could be that it was a transient place to stay, so it might not have been high up on
in the 60s.
On the food chain, though, like they might not have, they could have been like, oh, it's a gas leak, that sucks. Not saying that's what happened, just saying it could, the theory.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, usually it's very apparent whenever something's been caught on fire.
Yeah.
There's the smell of some form. I just hit my fucking snoot again.
The face that you made was so, because your look, you gave the microphone a dirty look.
I did, like, motherfucker, get out my nose.
You want to fight?
Fuck, what are you, cocaine? And I'm in college? Shit. No, but I was just going to say that it seems that you would be able to smell an accelerator. But maybe, too, if it was gas.
I mean, it was a transient hotel, flick a cigarette in a trash can and leave. Like, you know, who knows?
Right. Who knows?
Like, he might have just flicked one of his cigs in the trash can and was like, oh, I'm going to watch it because he's a fucking psycho. Okay, well, obviously they were like, what the fuck? And then they arrest him immediately. He first went to trial for little Kenneth Martin's murder, and then he got life without parole. And then to close the other cases, his lawyer struck a deal for all the other victims, and he got second-degree murder, so that added 3 more life sentences with the possibility of parole. So they were supposed to run concurrently. So there's one where they're like, you're going to die in here, and then they added on 3 more that like, well, you could get out. It's like, so it doesn't make sense. But I'm glad that they all got, like, he wasn't getting out. He was...
So wait.
He got 4 life sentences, basically.
Oh,
and
good.
the 3 of them, they added that he was eligible for parole.
Oh.
But he was serving that after the one.
Because they did all the trials almost essentially separately.
Yeah, well, the second one was a lump sum kind of deal.
Weird, okay.
To close them all out. But the one was for little Kenneth. And
I'm going to stop asking questions on that because at the end of the day, he got fucking life.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. They should have just been like, put on a piece of paper, you're going to die in prison. You killed all these people, you son of a bitch. Go rot. Right?
You do what?
Hold somebody's pocket.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I haven't said that in a while.
No, you haven't, because I don't feel like we've had a lot of people in jail.
Holding their pockets.
Yeah.
Well, he was also sentenced as part of this little package deal, if you will, to do hard labor at Walpole State Prison. But instead of actually going, he was sent to Bridgewater State Hospital for the criminally insane, which apparently the conditions were terrible there. And there was like a documentary about it, like not the one that Geraldo went to that was real famous, that got him famous, but it was similar in the same genre of being fucking terrible place to go. He was there for 20 years. And then April of 1989, they told him he was getting transferred to Walpole. Kenneth Harrison, who was now 51, he said, no, I'm not. He said, fuck that. He stored his antidepressants, took them all, and he killed himself.
Fucking pussy ass bitch.
Yeah. And Karen read a joke on the episode of My Favorite Murder that somebody else wrote and said, isn't it ironic that somebody who called himself...
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? Sorry, you knew that was going to happen. You could not have said okay.
I
sorry.
did. No, said, God damn it. I was like, I'm building up to the punchline, and you just started singing, and I was like, I just deflated.
I'm so sorry.
My whole body language.
I'm so sorry. Get back in there. Get back in there. Puff that chest.
Okay.
Peacock.
Somebody wrote, isn't it
ironic?
There you go. That someone who called himself the Giggler OD'd on antidepressants. Like that does sound like the morbid version of Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong.
Yes, and I was thinking about it, and I kind of want to hear his laugh. Like I kind of want to hear. Part of me
what was that phone call sound?
It's terrible, but I want to hear him laugh like a little bitch because they were describing how girly and weird it was.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine.
And he did it for all of them. And they finally pieced it all together.
So do you remember, do you think that there was really just like a psychological issue with the guy?
There had to have been.
There had to have been, right?
There had to have been.
I mean, same thing. I know, but I don't know if it's like a sociopath or it's any of that. Like, Jodi obviously was like, I think the word is sociopath, but like, does it like... Was he schizophrenic? Maybe
something had to have been wrong because they gave him 4 life sentences and sent him to do hard labor, and then they're like, maybe we should veer a little left, and for a place that used to be called literally the criminally insane. So I mean, they instead of going to do the labor, they were like, maybe you should go to treatment, even though at the end of the day they probably weren't getting much treatment that they should get. Right. But I something's got to be wrong. Fuck.
I think it's probably schizophrenia. When people do stuff like that, I'm like, I think there's a voice in your head that told you, like the urge was voice being like, it'd be awesome if you threw that person over that bridge.
That's probably, I never thought about that.
That's just my psychological degree.
Well, all of our training and all of my degrees that hang on my office wall. Yeah. All my criminology studies.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is the fucked up story of Kenneth Harrison, the Giggler.
Isn't it crazy, too, that you probably pulled all the information that's really out there and it's that short for somebody who killed that many people?
Yeah. It was really weird, and it's all conflicting. Like, one of them's said that little Lucy was going to fill up trade in her parents' tonic bottle water.
Isn't it so weird? It's always like what their action item is.
Yeah. And then one of them said, didn't even mention the hotel fire. There are 2 of them.
Oh,
Karen did, so I went with Karen's.
Yeah. There are so many in the stories of Jodi and Travis that they left out, and I'm like, how did you leave this out? This is so huge.
Yeah, well,
all of this shit, them not talking about her dyeing her hair.
Yeah, that one was huge, especially because they showed her face on every fucking channel for years. So
and she looks better as a brunette.
Well, she looks better in jail. So
she does,
and
yes.
Well, R.I.P. to the victims of that one, because that one's really fucked up because there was no rhyme or reason. It was just you happened to cross this path.
Oh, man.
I know.
Literally just...
Literally cross this path. But that is the fucked up story of the Giggler.
That was a fucked up story, and I've never heard it. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That was wild.
You're welcome for that. It was very wild.
That was our episode.
Was it?
It sounds like that was our episode.
It's come to completion?
I believe so.
Isn't that a weird way to say it?
It is. Our audio project has now been completed.
It's commenced.
Yeah. Speaking of audio projects, we really need you guys to follow, right? Is that what you need to do? Press the follow button?
Yes, we need you guys, all you sweet babies. We need you all to subscribe on either Apple or Spotify, etc. We really need you to do that. And give us a 5-star rating. If you're going to do a 4, how about you send us a little private note first? Just let us know.
Let us know why.
See if we can bump that up to a 5 for you.
Yeah.
We're not going to send nudes, but we're not above it. No, I'm kidding.
I was like...
You can Google hers and I'll... No, I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Your face. Just
I hope
kidding.
there aren't
Stop
any out
Googling right
there.
now. They're not up there, but you can purchase them from, no.
Oh my God.
Okay, done. But yeah, we really need you to do that, please. That would help us out. We're trying to get bumped up in the ratings, so help us out.
Yeah. Help us feel like all this hard work pays off. If you can.
Just a little subscription. Just a little.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
That makes me so happy.
I know.
Yes.
You scrunched your nose up and you said, yes.
Yes. And we're going to keep sprinkling some of our sexy new photos from our photo shoot out.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you guys liked it. I think you liked the first laughy one, the first candid, if you will.
Yeah.
That we used for bribery because our fucking episode's floating up in the cloud.
I know. It sucks so much whenever the episode was actually done. Like, it wasn't because we couldn't do it. We fucking did it.
Yeah. We did it.
We did it. She lost.
She lost.
She going out there. Hopefully she will float her little sexy ass back over here. But we love you guys. Thanks for all you do. You make us so happy.
I mean, that's accurate. Yes, I agree.
It is.
Okay.
All right. Well, we love you. Thanks.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Theodore, can I pet that dog?